What's up everybody? My name is Zach. Thank you for tuning into today's video. We're going to be taking a look at two of my all-time favorite pickups, the Suhr Thornbuckers and the Lambertone Cremas. These two pickups are both low output PAF single coil voiced pickups, and a lot of times I see people comparing these two pickups in online forums, and so that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. Now, this is not meant to be an end-all be-all comparison between these two pickups because we're going to be using two different guitars. We're going to be using my Suhr JM Classic and then my Alt-T Pro. Now, before you guys go in and dislike this video, keep in mind that whatever guitar that you end up installing these in anyway, it's going to sound different. This is really just meant to be a basis for you to form your opinion on as to which direction you should go. The most noticeable differences between these two guitars, besides the body shape, is that the Alt-T Pro is a swamp ash body and it's semi-hollow, which tends to kind of lend itself to a slightly brighter tone, specifically pushed kind of more in the mid-range. Whereas the JM Classic is an alder body, which tends to be a little bit warmer. Other than that though, they're both going to be made from Suhr. They've got a maple neck, rosewood fretboard, and then very similar finishes. Lastly, both of these guitars are going to be played through my Kemper using an Arshall Performance just to create consistency, and then we'll switch between the pickups and then obviously a few different effects as well. Okay, now that we've got the housekeeping items done, let's go ahead, let's hear how these pickups sound next to each other, and then I'll be sure to give you my thoughts at the end as well. Okay, so both pickups obviously sound amazing, and side by side they sound very similar. However, there are a couple of key differences that I do want to point out. I think that the most notable differences is going to be the output between the two pickups. And we obviously just heard that here in that demo. So the Thornbuckers are going to be a hotter or higher output than the Cremas, which just means that it's going to push the front end of the amp a little bit harder, meaning then once we throw in overdrives, distortions, things like that, the Thornbuckers are going to gain up a little bit quicker than the Cremas. However, with my experience of owning the Lambertone Cremas inside of the JM Classic, I've really never had any issues when it comes to even adding one extra overdrive or a boost pedal in front of the amp to kind of get it into similar gain territory as the Alt-T Pro. The low end on these two pickups sounds pretty similar and honestly kind of matches that of what you'd expect from a PAF style humbucker. A lot of warmth, a lot of clarity without that muddiness that you can get with higher output humbuckers. Now, I've tried to match the pickup heights as closely as possible for this demo, but obviously you can adjust that to your own personal preferences as well. Now, the mids are where I think we're going to hear the biggest differences between these two guitars. Now, obviously, again, I've already prefaced that very well could be because of the semi-hollow body within the Alt-T Pro. However, I feel like with the Thornbuckers, they tend to cut just a little bit more. Now, they both sound great and they're nice and scooped in the mids, which I typically prefer, but that's just something to be mindful, and again, it's a personal preference, not necessarily good or bad either way. The highs on both of these pickups are crystal clear and honestly just sound amazing. Both of them have a nice glassy, smooth top end without really ever being shrill or brittle. However, when we stack on a ton of overdrive, gain, and even effects, they still maintain their clarity. And now this is where I personally think that we get a lot of those same characteristics of a single coil pickup with obviously having the benefits of a humbucker. As far as my personal experience goes with the Cremas, I've never picked up my guitar and hated the way they sound. And day in, day out, I love when I pick up that guitar, I dial in my tones, I get it where I want. It doesn't matter if I'm gained up, if it's super ambient, washed out, reverby stuff. I love the way the pickups sound. The Thornbuckers are the same way, but they are hotter. They sound amazing when they're gained up, they cut really nicely for solos, but sometimes they're not quite that single coil tone that I want, you know, without actually having single coils. Now obviously this can be remedied by having a five-way switch like I do on my Alt-T Pro. However, this is something to keep in mind. Now I wish I could speak to the splitting capabilities of the Cremas, however I don't have that current capability inside of my JM Classic. In conclusion, I think both of these pickups sound amazing. I use them regularly for worship, for blues, for rock, alternative, indie, and I've never been disappointed with the sounds that have come out of these pickups. And truthfully, I don't think you would be either, regardless of what decision you decide to choose. I'll be sure I'll link both of these pickups down in the description below. And if you would like some more sound samples, be sure to check out my other videos where I featured both of these guitars a lot. Lastly, if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. That way you guys get notified about all my future content as well. And in the meantime, stay tuned. See ya.